Master Luke, we're having a party, and we have pizza. How about a pizza that ass? No! Oh my god! I'm not a god. I'm just a man. What's up, motherfunkos? Got the brand new Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty in front of me. This time the theme is Jedi, which is one of the more exciting themes that we've had in a while. What I would really want is an all Sith box. That would be awesome. But today we're focusing on the good guys. Whenever I do a video for one of these powered by Funko boxes, it's more of a review and a critique than just a straight up unveiling, because I'm pretty sure all of you guys already know what's inside of this. So I'm going to focus more on going through each item and giving you my very honest opinion about them. And at the very end, give it a rating from 1 to 10. Alright, we got the patch and pin. Thank goodness they didn't get rid of the pin on this one, because in the DC box it didn't have a pin. And I found that a little disappointing. We got a t-shirt, 2 pops, and a plush. Alright, let me open this stuff up. And this month, the pin features Jedi Master Plo Koon, who is a pretty cool Jedi, and I think he translated over into pop form really well. But he looks pretty hideous on this pin. He's actually a pretty ugly character, but the textures and everything and the way they painted it looks really good on the pop. But on this pin, he looks kind of ugly. He kind of looks like Krang from the Ninja Turtles, or just like a tumor with a face mask. It's pretty ugly, but well done. And like I said before, I do like having the pins because they are highly collectible and they commemorate each box, and they look pretty cool when they're all together on a lanyard. So I do like having it, but I do wish they would have picked maybe a different character, because yeah, Plo Koon definitely looks pretty ugly on this pin. The patch has old Luke from The Force Awakens, and it's actually a lot nicer looking than I thought it was going to be. I first saw a picture of it, and I thought it looked a little rough, but now that I see it in person, it does look pretty cool, and I like that they chose to go with the light blue in the background, and the light blue for the Jedi emblem. It's a nice contrast of colors. Luke does kind of look like a deranged homeless man, though, in it. Like, look at that look in his eye. He does look a little wild, like a homeless man that's like yelling at trees or something, or benches in the park. But it is done very well. And I'm glad they actually represented Yoda in the box, because he is on the cover. I really hate when they put a character on the cover of the box and they don't represent him inside in some way or another. I really think that's a bait and switch, and they've done it several times before. So I'm glad that at least we do have a Yoda item, because it is advertised with Yoda on there. Unfortunately, it's a plush. I'm not a big plush collector. Actually, I'm not a plush collector at all. But I can appreciate that this one is done really nice. They got some different textures going on. The hair is nice and soft. All the stitching is done really tight. There's no like little loose strands anywhere. It's actually super well made. And I think he actually sits upright if you want him to. So that's cool. One of my ears is kind of going back, but I'm pretty sure that if you just kind of lay him on his side like this for a while, against something, it'll kind of straighten out if you want them both to be like that. So yeah, it's done well. It's just something that I don't collect. And this kind of reminds me of Beanie Babies, something that Pops are often compared to as like a fad. Because Beanie Babies were going for crazy prices, and then all of a sudden you couldn't give them away. You couldn't pay people to take your boxes of Beanie Babies. I don't really think that Pops are quite like that. I do think that the fad eventually will die down. But since they're licensed characters, I don't think they're going to be quite like Beanie Babies. But these kind of items do remind me of Beanie Babies. So I really could do without them. But if you're a plush collector, I'm pretty sure this is a great item. I'm not sure how many plush collectors subscribe to these boxes. But yeah, I have to admit that this is done rather nicely. And I'm actually liking the shirt this time. I got Luke Skywalker, young Luke Skywalker, with this kind of old school action figure border on it that I like. And I like the way they did the blue on the lightsaber, and it's illuminating this black and white image of Luke. I believe there's 4 different shirts you can get, but there's no spoiler card in the box this time, so I'm not sure exactly who the other characters are. I think one of them's Qui-Gon, one of them's Yoda, and I forget who the other one is. But I am kind of glad I got Luke. Because, yeah, he is kind of one of the first Jedis that, you know, you see in all of Star Wars. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I do wish it was in pop form because I think that the shirts that aren't in pop form do look a little cheap in these boxes because they're usually only a few colors, maybe 3 colors at the most. So I do like them better when they're actual Funko Pop shirts, but this one's not bad. And Funko made an excellent choice making the young Obi-Wan Kenobi one of the most popular Jedis in all of Star Wars. And that really does look like Ewan McGregor. Although I do kind of wish that this box, the 2 pops, would have been Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan instead of Qui-Gon being released for that con in such limited quantities, because you kind of need to have Qui-Gon to go with this Obi-Wan. I mean, you don't need to, but it would be really nice. But yeah, this is a really cool one. The Jedis are dressed pretty simply, so Funko didn't have too much to work with, and when the pops are simple, all the details have to be done right. And the way that they did this belt with those tiny, tiny little studs and buttons and pockets look really good. And I'm glad that they gave his leather boots this glossy paint along with these leather pouches, because it really does look like a different material and like it's leather. And his little tunic looks really good. And yeah, even the back is painted really well, really impressive on those tiny details. And this hair sculpt is pretty awesome. Looks just like Ewan McGregor's hair in the movie. And Funko is really improving the way they do the beards. I mean, it's still not perfect. You know, you still have a little bit of that face paint on the molded mustache and beard. Like that little line there. But it's not as bad as it used to be. So you can hardly notice it from face on. And I guess if you're standing above it at a good distance, you don't notice it too much. It's only when you look at it up close that you do see that line there, but they are getting better with it. I mean, the only thing that would make this one cooler is if he was in that stance when he's about to start fighting and Ewan McGregor puts out like the 2 fingers. You know, they don't really ever explain why he does that. It's just kind of, you know, one of the forms he gets into before he's going to fight. And that would have been really cool if they would have put him in that stance, because it definitely would have been even more instantly recognizable as young Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm pretty surprised they gave us another prequel Jedi in Aayla Secura. A really cool one. I really like the Twi'lek species. Some of the coolest aliens, and I really love these blue Star Wars pop. The color blue on the pops look really nice, always really eye-catching. And yeah, like I said earlier, I wish that Aayla Secura would have been the super rare Comic-Con pop instead of Qui-Gon. I think that would have made a little bit more sense. But I'm glad I have her, but I do have some issues with this pop, which I'll get into right now when I take her out. This design is really cool. I really like the way the blue and the brown look together. It's a great combination of colors, and that's just a really beautiful blue on a really cool sculpt from a really cool character. I don't even remember Aayla having any speaking lines in the prequel. That's how awesome her character is. I think in the Clone Wars they did flesh out her character. But yeah, really cool. And of course, you know, she's got the lightsaber, so it makes it even more eye-catching of a pop. Where I do have some issues though is the paint job. Like, man, I think it would have been better if the brown would have bled over onto the face instead of the face paint onto the brown. I really hate when they make these bad edges like that. And you got some more of it up here. Not too bad, but when it's on the face, kind of like it is right here, it is pretty noticeable, or at least my eye goes right to it. But what I really have a problem with is the fact that they painted her stomach brown. Because in the movies and also in the animated shows, her midriff shows, she's got leather brown pants, but her belly shows. She's got just like this little top on. And it even has a belly button, you know, like no matter how tight this leather is, you're not going to see her belly button. So it seems like Funko did intend for this to be blue, but they goofed up and painted it brown, which is really unfortunate because, you know, maybe to people that aren't super hardcore Star Wars fans, it's something you don't notice, but it's a pretty big deal if you know what the character looks like. I mean, your eye goes to it right away as like, wow, that's a huge mistake. I mean, I guess if it didn't have the belly button, it wouldn't be as bad, and it would just look like, oh, look, they decided to, I guess, cover up her midriff so it's not so racy or whatever. But yeah, in none of her iterations in anything is she like having her stomach covered up by the leather like that. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. It would otherwise be a pretty awesome pop. So that was the Jedi Smuggler's Bounty Box. And overall, I think it's pretty good. I think the Obi-Wan pop is excellent. I like that they chose a more obscure Jedi like Aayla Secura. And I think her sculpt is really good. And the blue paint is very pretty. I just wish they would have gotten her midriff right, because to me that's a big mistake. That's probably going to bug me every single time I look at this pop. I'm probably going to give away that Yoda plush, only because I don't collect plush and I don't want clutter in my house. But I think it's well done. I like the retro styling of the shirt because I usually don't like the non-pop shirts because they look cheap. But the fact that they gave it this retro look makes me like this one. Although I would have preferred that retro border with a pop version of Luke. I just like them better. I think they look less generic and more like a quality item. The patch and pin are done very nice, but I do wish there were different characters on there like Mace Windu or just more interesting Jedi. Overall, from 1 to 10, I would give this box a 7. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this box, which shirt you got, if the paint flaw on Aayla Secura bugs you, what you think about the plush, are you glad that they left the pin in for this box, or anything else you'd like to say. Have a great weekend and take it easy.